getting into some baseball stuff, I know you guys were kind of going through a list of players from Illinois that are maybe tearing it up in the minor leagues, had good years, whatever the situation may be. But the first thing that I just wanted to mention was 2024 Minooka grad Nate George was announced as the 2025 Minor League Player of the Year for the Baltimore Orioles, which is obviously a huge honor for him. We mentioned last week that Ryan Sloan had won the Minor League Pitcher of the Year for the Mariners, but this year I was just looking, Nate George hit 337, had a 413 OBP, 5 homers, 42 RBIs, and then he stole 50 bags, which honestly doesn't surprise me just knowing how fast he is. The 60 times that we had gotten on him, I think it was at the Lockport events that he would come to, were like unreal, and just the speed that he has is clear and evident, and 50 stolen bases is no joke in the big league or in the minor leagues.
Yeah, he set a lot of like preseason ID records too, because it was I think he couldn't make the pro case, so then he wanted to get to an event, so he came to the Lockport preseason ID and just he dominated, and it's awesome to see like his athleticism. It plays on the field clearly. Like there's a lot of guys whose speed doesn't necessarily translate in game like his does. He always was a hard-nosed guy. I know his high school coach was a huge fan of him as well. Yeah, really. I mean, that's a big honor though, to be a minor league player of the year for your entire system. And there were good, like we've talked on, I feel like certain players and guys that we've checked up on in the minor leagues and talked on them in the past, but there are so many Illinois guys that like we've been missing, guys. And just, we had mentioned the Birmingham Barons, like, the White Sox, AA affiliate. I think they won the AA championship. We had talked about Sam Antonacci. Like, they had other Illinois guys on that team. DJ Gladney, he was, he's probably in his mid to late 20s now. But when I first started, he was at Ileana Christian, like Marian Catholic, Ileana Christian. Ileana Christian was at that point in Illinois high school. So he was actually an Illinois prospect, and then it changed. It's right on the border, and it now is in Indiana high school. So I still, count him as one of ours. He came up through the Illinois system, but he was on that team. Another one that I hadn't talked about at all was Riley Gowans. He was a starter for that team. He was a Libertyville grad, went to Illinois, had an awesome year. 3.44 ERA, only gave up 108 hits in 132 innings, struck out 151. So like that was one that we had failed to mention in the past, and had a huge year for the White Sox. Another name like Braden Montgomery. I know he's not an Illinois guy, but he's on that team too. He was a Super 60 guy. They traded for him. He was on that team, and then I think Noah Schultz might have started with that team and maybe made it up to AAA. But those were just a couple Birmingham Barons I wanted to mention, and then we were dabbling with the Arizona Fall League. So I don't know. There's a long list of guys from Illinois that will be attending the Arizona Fall League this year. I don't know if it's worth me just rattling off some names, but the aforementioned Sam Antonacci, Matt Jacek, I thought was an awesome one I saw on there. He's a Hampshire grad, 2019. He went to Indiana State. He had a 2.66 ERA this year at AA, 23 and 2/3 innings, so he's thrown out of the pen. Gave up 25 hits, 20 Ks, doesn't walk anybody. He was a big-time strike thrower in high school. Kenny Serwa, you got to go back to, I think he's a 2015 grad and was signed as a free agent this year, but he'll be in the Arizona Fall League. Ed Howard, he was a first-round pick by the Cubs. He's battled some injuries. He'll be at the Arizona Fall League. I mentioned Kenny Serwa. He was a St. Patrick grad in 2015. Dylan Quested, I know you guys are probably like, who's that? Like, why are you mentioning? He's a Wisconsin guy, but a guy that I scouted a bunch. I saw him at Area Code, a bunch of other different things, and to see him now pitching in the Arizona Fall League was really cool. Luke Adams was a mainstay, prep baseball, Illinois guy. He came up through the system, a bunch of different events, future games, all this stuff. He's one of the top prospects for the Brewers. He'll be at the Arizona Fall League. Josh Adamczewski was another random name that I had to call out. He's from the region up there in Northwest Indiana. The reason I want to talk about him, we randomly saw him at our West Suburban Summer ID 4 or 5 years back. Hit up the Indiana guys like, hey, you need to know about this bat. Looks like a Division I left-handed hitter. Long story short, he ends up going to the future games. drafted by the Brewers, and now he's playing in the Arizona Fall League. Another throwback name, Pete, was Logan Wagner, Downers Grove area guy. You know, he wasn't in the system for very long because he ended up going to P27 Academy in South Carolina. But he was a fifth round pick by the Dodgers. Also had a really talented older brother as well. And then Jack Mahoney from St. Viator, he should be out there for the Rockies. He was a future gamer, two-way guy for Viator. He was on that club. I think he was starting as a freshman. Gosh, I hope I get my years right. But the year Viator won state, Cole Kmet was a pitcher, first baseman, big-time right-handed hitter. He was a left-handed pitcher, right-handed hitter with all kinds of crazy power. But Jack Mahoney was on that state championship team playing shortstop as a freshman. Now he's on the mound for the Rockies. Went to South Carolina. So just some other guys that, you know, as we're wrapping up all minor league baseball here, if we come across any other stat lines that maybe we missed, I mean, feel free to shoot a comment, you know, in the YouTube. Anybody we miss that you know of, we would love to shout them out. Like, it's one of my favorite things is seeing guys from Illinois continue to elevate their games as they climb the ladder.
Yeah, well, like I mentioned today, so we're recording on Tuesday. So the playoffs start today. The wild card starts today. The Cubs take on the Padres at 2:08 p.m., which is such a weird time, but that's besides the point. Wild card starts in Chicago. Super pumped about it. One downside, I guess, Cade Horton is going to be out for the wild card series. I know he's been kind of hot lately, like Hammond had mentioned, but yeah, super pumped about that. And then Tyler, I think for those that have been consistently listening these past couple weeks, have probably heard some negative Reds baseball talk. A lot of hater talk from the Cincinnati Reds fan here. But hey, Tyler, they made the playoffs thanks to their, what was it, a tie with the Mets or something? They like the tiebreaker with the Mets. They had beaten them in a series or something.
Yeah, they had the season head-to-head over the Mets. So my Reds are in the playoffs. I think if anybody listened to last week's episode, I was very pessimistic on this even being a possibility. But hey, they made it, and anything can happen. We were talking off air, and Hammett's like, you know, you just never know now. Like, it's really anybody's game, and I'm not saying they're going to win the World Series or anything. It would be awesome. But, you know, win tonight. This is Tuesday night. They got a tall task. They're playing with house money. No one in their right mind thinks they're going to go into L.A. and beat the Dodgers, so they can play with nothing to lose because no one expects anything out of them. So hope they play well and shock the world. Dane, what do you got? No mean comments. I didn't say anything mean about the Cubs, so no mean comments.
I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but a weekend or two before the Mets go down to Miami, Ty Def is down there at Lone Depot. I don't know if he put any voodoo magic in that park to make the Marlins take that series or what, but just like to throw it out there.
I might have. You know, our guy Jose, the clubby down there for the Marlins. You know, maybe I should be investigated by Major League Baseball. No, I'm kidding. No, it is a funny coincidence. I was kind of thinking about that because when we were there, we heard Gavin. I don't know if you were around for this story or not, but like a few years ago, I think it was the Mets that clinched getting into the playoffs in Miami, and we were hearing about how like they take care of the clubbies down there. Like they tipped them quite a bit of money, and like that night they clinched getting into the playoffs. They tipped them a bunch of money, and I was just sitting there thinking, I'm like, that's probably what's going to happen this year, right? Like they're down in Miami. What are the odds? Like I just heard about this story. I'm like, so that was actually in my mind all week, and I'm like, man, the Mets are going to clinch down there. It's going to be the same story I heard, but no, I'm excited. I was warning my fiance, funny enough, because I'm pretty tame during football games, and like obviously over the course of 162, like it's really hard to just like be amped over a baseball game. I warned her. I was like, the Reds have been in the postseason. This will mark the 5th time in my 27 years of life. I'm like, I'm a different person when the Reds are in the playoffs. So I gave her a fair warning. I'm going to be living and dying with every single pitch. But I'm excited about it. You guys have obviously got to experience a lot more postseasons and postseason success than I certainly have. So you guys definitely know how it goes. But I'm excited. I'm just excited they made the playoffs.
We're
Doesn't happen very
we're
often.
pumped for you, Tyler. I mean, I thought there was no chance either. Just listening to you talk. Did how bad was the Mets collapse here?
It was horrible.
Yeah,
I
can
mean,
we put that in perspective? Like, I know the Tigers had a bad one, but they still made the playoffs. Like, Mets fans were going nuts. I know Mets fans go nuts no matter what, but like, can you spell this one out for me? Like,
well, there was a point in June, I think it was June or early July. They had the best record in baseball. Like they were the best team in baseball. They had a monumental collapse.
Yeah.
I mean, they've ended up finishing, I want to say 15 or 20 games under 500 from that point when they had the best record in baseball. So I'm glad. I'm thankful for it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, New York media is pretty crazy. So glad I'm not like a Mets player or anything. Like Alonso's already opted out. He's already said, "Hey, I'm gonna test free agency. I'm not gonna opt into my option for next year." So I don't know. It's some interesting times in New York. I don't know if I know Gavin and Hammett probably follow Barstool, but the Frank the Tank stuff. I'm not gonna lie. I lived for that. The Frank
I
the
didn't
Tank
see it.
blow ups over the Mets missing out on the playoffs for the Reds. So
Okay.
no, I loved it. It was it was pretty. I don't know. It was fun to watch. I think a little bit.
Those
Maybe
videos
that's
scare
a
me.
bad
Like
thing.
he needs to relax. Like it's
I mean, those poor glasses. I mean,
Yeah. that's a good point.
oh,
the glasses, the shirt collar.
well,
all of it.
feel free to shoot me over the best one you've seen yet, so I can get a glimpse of this. I think I know what you're talking about. It's probably come across my desk.